So, in today's episode, I am going to talk about this particular book, Isabel Allende by Isabel Allende, A Long Petal of the Sea. And okay, as you could already see, the cover of the book isn't that just a fabulous? I mean, oh, look at that! Look at that! It also shimmers and beautiful blue waves. What a beautiful piece of artwork, isn't it? And I just read this book just before a few days, let's say. And okay, I will not say I liked it a lot. I will tell you about this book. Okay, to give you a brief review, I will just going to read what is there in the end page of the novel. Victor Dalmau is a young doctor when he is caught up in the Spanish Civil War, an event that leaves his life, the fate of his country forever changed. Together with his sister-in-law, the pianist Roser, he forced out of Barcelona and into exile in Chile. There they find themselves enmeshed in the rich web of characters who come together in love and tragedy over the course of 4 generations, destined to witness the battle between freedom and repression as it plays out across the world. So when I read this particular novel, okay, I'm not a person with a really good, really amazing general knowledge. I have really less general knowledge. So I didn't know about anything existing as a Spanish Civil War. So, oh, okay, I knew that there happened a lot of wars in Europe. Okay, I knew about that, like First World War, Second World War, and what went in those wars in general. And but I didn't know about that there happened a civil war in Spain. I really didn't know about that, and it is a civil war, and it was so serious, and it made such a huge impact. It created so many immigrant people, and they had to went through so much and in their life, that so much part of their life was kind of taken away from them, and that is really sad. And I didn't know about this thing, and I came to know about all of these things through this book. And there is a very beautiful storyline also there in this book. So okay, I want to talk more about this book, but before talking more about this book, I want to talk about some of the lines that I really liked about this book. So let's get started. The most thankless task was disposing the piles of amputated legs and arms. Victor could never get used to the smell of burning flesh. So, some of these lines in the book that has a tragedies of war and stories about war are really powerful in a very strong sense, that they give us a live picture of what goes in the war, besides heroic, so-called heroic things, such as the smell of burning flesh. Okay. The strategy of men under Franco's command was to spill as much blood as possible and to spread terror. The only way they could destroy any hint of resistance from the conquered people. So, it's once again, it's really sad, these things. I mean, to spill the blood, and this is not even a very long ago story, like barbaric times. This is like what, 1950. It's not that old, it's a quite new story. So we haven't passed many years since then. How much has changed? So it makes us think about what humans are capable to do, how many tragedies they are capable of creating in themselves, and how people can do such things and think of such things, that to spill as much blood as possible. I mean, what, seriously, that's so sad that any people can think like that. So okay, 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 I'm going to read a few more sentences. Without science, industry, and technology, no progress is possible, and without music and art, there is no soul. Uh, yes, that is kind of a true statement, good statement. Okay. Okay, so in this novel, there are at the start of every chapter there are few lines mentioned at the top of the start of every chapter, and those are the lines from the poems by Pablo Neruda. So this few lines I really liked from his one of the chapter, Hymn to the Glory of the People at War, Offended Lands. So from this particular lines are picked up. Nothing, not even victory, can wipe away the terrible hole of blood. Nothing, not even victory, can wipe away the terrible hole of blood. And it ensues, it just it explains so powerfully, and it just explains so powerfully that well, the terrible hole of blood that the war creates, nothing will be able to wipe out that. What would they do in France or anywhere else? They couldn't leave their home, their neighborhood, their language, their relatives and friends. The possibility that they would win the war was increasingly remote, and they had silently resigned themselves to a negotiated peace and nationalist repression, but even that was preferable to exile. There was too much pain, too much that was despicable in this war between brothers. Defeat had to be better than to continue killing and dying. So, okay, there are. If I talk about everything, then maybe I fear that I will give out the story, because the story is one of the main things in this book. So I don't want to do that. There are some little few lines which I really liked. These are also from the poems by Pablo Neruda. If you forget me, the captain's verses. If little by little you stop loving me, I will stop loving you little by little. If suddenly you forget me, don't come looking for me. I will already have forgotten you. So, really amazing. I don't want to explain it, because some things are really better not to be explained. Those words are in themselves are capable of explaining things. So, okay, I have not been able to talk about most of the things in this book, lines in this book, because it sort of lines are giving away the story. So, the few last line I want to read are: entropy is the natural law of the universe. Everything tends towards disorder, to break down, to disperse. People get lost. Look how many vanished during the retreat. Feelings fade, and forgetfulness slips into the lives like mist. It takes heroic willpower just to keep everything in place. Those are the refugees' forebodings. So, these are some of the lines said by one of the characters. And okay, I want to read it once again. Entropy is the natural law of the universe. Everything tends towards disorder, to break down, to disperse. People get lost. Look how many vanished during the retreat. Feelings fade, and forgetfulness slips into lives like mist. It takes heroic willpower just to keep everything in place. Those are the refugees' forebodings. Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit more about this novel. So as I already said, this novel gave me a lot of knowledge about Spanish Civil War and what all things happened in Spanish Civil War and what all things were followed by Spanish Civil War. Um, so because war doesn't stop only when it someone gets victorious. War has its long arms reaching towards the from present towards the future, and the impact of wars are seen for a very long time. So yeah, what followed after the Spanish Civil War? Most of the things are about immigration and what all different problems those things created, how many years of the lives of the characters of in this book were destroyed, and they had to once again create the lives. Those lives again got destroyed and they have to create their identity once again, and it took away so much years of their lives. That was a tragedy. Also this book talks about the war between two different ideologies. The one ideology, it means right and left ideologies. So it just says, this war is so parallel and eminent, and it will keep on happening once again and again. The war between right ideologies and the leftist and rightist. So so this, even though this story is of the Spanish Civil War, and they were forced into the exile into the Chile. So even though this book is about that, still it parallelly talks about the war between, not war between the people in the nation, but it also talks about the war between the ideologies and what different points people have about their ideologies and how they want to hold the ideology so strong. So that is what this book also talks about, and that is why I feel that this is not only book about Spanish Civil War, but it also teaches a lot about, because same thing happened in all over the world in many of the countries, the clash between the ideologies in at that period of time. So yeah, the problems were almost same everywhere and the effects were also almost same everywhere. So yes, that talks about that. Okay, so yeah, there is one more factor about this book, and that is a love story, and that love story is so subtle and in between, and the characters are so strong and the emotions are so strong, and there are so many external factors which want to tear away that particular love story. And yes, those are so many things about love story in this book, tragedies, love, these things. What is okay, I want to talk about one more important thing. I really loved the first part of the book, but the second half I felt that was not able to hold up to that mark of the first part of the book. So the first part of the book created so much expectations, but the second part of book was not able to, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and my opinion, I don't know how much it matters, I'm just a small one reader. So okay, but I really liked the first part. First part I really loved more than the second part of the book. It had more excitement and more more powerful storyline. That I like the first part. And also, okay, I talked almost a lot of things about books. So yes, the cover, I really loved the cover. I already told you, it is so pretty, so beautiful, so aesthetic cover. So thank you so much everyone for watching this video, and I did a different experiment today by standing and talking to you, having a conversation, and only you will be able to tell maybe how that went. So give me a feedback, and if you have any book to suggest me, you can also feel free to suggest me. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye, take care, see ya.